All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the show. Um, we're doing part two of Sinister 6. This is going to be a three-parter. So we're going to do Scorpion and we're going to do an Electro. And over here is going to be Hobgoblin, Mysterio, and Vulture. All right. So today we're just going to be drawing Scorpion and Electro, and then the rest of the tentacles for Doc Ock. And then after that, we're going to be doing Mysterio, Hobgoblin, and Vulture in part three. All right. So let's get into it. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? The best part I like about this Sinister Six is probably Doctor Octopus because his tentacles are so fun to play with. Like, you can shape them, and I don't mean shape them, but you can, make them go all crazy and diagonal and loops and make them go around people, make them go up, make them go down, make them go around, make them go off the picture, and then make them look like they're coming to you. I mean, like, if you can't have fun with drawing, like, then I don't know, like, I don't know why people draw if you're not going to have fun with what you're doing, you know? And Doc Ock's tentacles are a great way, and a lot of people are like, oh, but there's so much detail. There's like so much work you got to do. But you know what? You take it one step at a time. That's the secret. Don't look at the overall picture. Don't look like, oh my God, I got to draw 7. I got to draw 8. I got to draw 10 people on this poster. Don't look at it like this because it's going to drive you crazy, right? So, I do one character at a time. And you know what? To be honest with you, this is actually harder to draw um, a lot of people on one poster than it is like one or two people. Why? Because you have to. I don't know if you could see it, but a lot of these characters are behind or in the front of the other characters, and you got to make it look like, all right, well, let's make this person a little bit smaller than the rest. And you want to look at like it's in a, like it's depth, a depth perception. Or you want to have it as like a 3D effect, like it's coming towards you. So you got to make the character either bigger or smaller or the same size. And, this is where the size comparison comes into play. And it's, to me, it's a lot more difficult to do a poster with like 7, 8, 10, 12. At that point, it really doesn't matter how many more people you put on there because at that point, you're just drawing faces and maybe an arm here or there because you're running out of space. How much space do you really have to draw people's full body? You don't. That's why you can only draw a head or you can only draw an arm or, so a lot of times you're giving the, your follower, your fellow people that are watching your videos and looking at this and they're spectators and you're giving them like almost like a cliffhanger, like you're making them use their imagination, like, oh, I can see it like this, maybe it's offset over there, and oh, I know his hands going off of the page, so maybe he has a fist, maybe his hands are open, maybe he's throwing a electric bolt or whatever the powers of the beings that you have, or it's just a regular person. But that is to me, that is like, I love how, this is personally, I love when authors or artists make you think. You could step back and you can look at a painting or at a drawing and you could think to yourself like, oh man, I only see like half of this person's body. I wonder what the other half is doing. And at that point, you could draw your own conclusions, like maybe his hands open or closed or, so forth. But, that's the great thing about art is perception, and everybody has a different perception. Everybody could be like, oh, well, So a lot of times, yes, they teach us in school to, you know, especially in writing, they teach you to describe in full detail what the scene is. So because the person that's reading isn't in your mind, so they don't really understand what's going on. So you have to draw that conclusion for them in order for them to understand what's going on. But there's also other authors that make you use your imagination. They have an open interpretation of what's going on. And that's the same thing with art. Art is an open interpretation, you know, and that's what I love. That's why I like my art to be like this. You know, I want somebody to look at my art, and you know, maybe I'm not going to give them the full spread of what I'm trying to do. I'm going to let them finish it. Like, I'll start the sentence, but then I want you to finish the sentence. Almost like the Mad Labs or the Mad Libs. Remember that when we were growing up? Like, you would start a sentence like, if I say it was sunny today, and I pass it over to one of my friends, and then he says, it was sunny today, but there's clouds. And then they'll pass it to somebody else, and that person will say, it's sunny today, but there's clouds and there's birds out. You know, and that's exactly what a story in my eyes, when it's passed down, is like. People use their own interpretation, people put their own words, their own spin on it. And I feel like art should be no different. And that goes with anything that you guys do, you know, like especially when you're writing or when you're doing a poetry or, you know, and I'm a big fan of poetry, you know, Langston Hughes, Edgar Allan Poe, just to name a couple. You know, and there's so many other poets out there, and for some reason it escapes my mind. I know I'm sorry about this, but I haven't read poetry in a while, and I should get back on that bandwagon, because when I was you know, definitely in school, one of the main things that I love to do was reading, you know, and a lot of times now with your art, you either do art or you read, because, like, you know, it takes up a lot of time to do these drawings and to come up with concepts. And, you know, and you know what, a lot of artists will read a book and they'll be like, oh wow, you know, just painting that in their mind, and they're like, you know what, let me put this on paper. And then they'll make a paper, or they'll make like a painting of that, and that's their interpretation of what they read. And not all the time can you do that, because a lot of times maybe an author will already draw the conclusion of what's happening to the character, what the character looks like. He gives you a full in-depth description of the character, so you don't really have much of your imagination to really play with. I mean, you could imagine what the person looks like if it's a hard book and it doesn't really have any pictures of what the character might look like. But in essence, they give you like, okay, their jacket's green, their trench coat they're wearing is green, or the glasses they wear, you know, it's for reading, or they have to use prescription glasses. You know, so a lot of these little details here and there you may think is not good, or it's kind of redundant, but just those little bit of details can really draw conclusions on what the character's like. Like, you would know that, okay, genetically he has bad eyesight, or he can't see, he's farsighted or nearsighted. You know, just a lot of that makes you think, and it leaves less room for your imagination to run wild. You know, they already put you in a box where this is exactly what it's going to be like, and this is what you're going to have to work with, you know. But that's why a lot of times when it comes to art, I always like the part where you could do your own interpretation. So, again, thank you for watching the video. I don't want to keep talking. I know I talked a little bit longer on this one, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit of in-depth of why I do certain things. And it's because I want you, as, you know, the spectator, to imagine or to use your mind and draw your own conclusion of what's really happening, you know. And it's not abstract, you know, because I know a lot of people do that. Well, that's abstract art. Well, not my art. It's not abstract. Of course it's not. But, you know, just a little bit. I want you to use your mind and be like, okay, well, this is finished in there. I could see this part right here. Oh, let me look right there. You know, so, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you at the end. Thank you. Now we're done. So like I said, Mysterio, Hobgoblin, and Vulture. Thank you.